بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد النبي الأمي وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. Dear brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I welcome all of you, wherever you are. I welcome you again, wherever you are, and welcome with this program, Fatwa Life. The first question tonight from Montreal, Canada. The question is asking, if a Muslim wants to open a restaurant, of course he cannot provide alcohol. Now, some of the restaurants around that does not have the permit to provide alcohol, they allow people to bring their own alcohol. What is the rule about that kind of action where people bring their own alcohol and their own? First of all, that's a declaration of allowing the person to bring alcohol to whomever he wants. And an owner, a Muslim, should not declare that because he is promoting alcohol and making it easy for people to use it, and it is the mother of all filth, all sins. But he could just not say anything if somebody did it without declaration that they are allowed to do that, or promotion, or any provider from him. It's like he cannot promote people to bring the cross in their church or to dress improperly when they come to eat at his premises. And the action that happens from them or from sexual interaction that should not is not accepted Islamically or morally. And the matter on these people onto Allah Azza wa Jal. But to have that policy that his restaurant does not allow that it is better for him. That will be safer for him, more satisfying to Allah, and purer to his sustenance and the money he gets. The second question. I borrowed some money, some gold from my sister. I didn't take the gold. I took money of the equal to the grams of gold. We went and sold it, and I got the money. The condition that I bring back the gold, because that's what I bought it, a gram gold, and we sold it after that. So when I return it back with the value of the grams, or I have to go out and buy pure gold and give it to her. The answer: the loans are returned with its equal, not with its value, unless the currency completely collapsed or it has some severe problems. Then you look at the value. But if you borrowed with the gold in weight and then you take it to your own, then it is required from you to bring back the gold the same way, whether it is pure or was it made. If it is something that was made, then you just have to find the same, like if it is a ring, if it is jewelry. I mean, it depends on how it was. A woman that is beautiful, she works as a teacher in high school. She goes to the people's to the boys' school to explain some of the material. Is that a isolation? No, because the isolation of the door is closed, and that there is two that they don't allow nobody could see them. The measurement for isolation, that it is closed, the door closed, or they are safe from anybody to see them, even if the door is open. But that's what you have mentioned. It's from the thing that will bring affliction. It is better to avoid it unless there is a need. The men supposed to teach men and women teach women unless there is a necessary for it. The condition, the decision of Amjad that the woman should work in the women's sector, that will not expose her to the mix. And there is nothing wrong if she teach in the mix uh, kids in the elementary, but anything higher than that, it's allowed only there is a need for it. With the conditions that everything else is condition of the isolation and so on and so forth. And it is required that you separate between the males and females in the Islamic schools, especially over the 10th grade. Especially if there is enough teachers, then you reach each sex by themselves. And the Muslim should be built on that condition. If the it cannot separate because of the lack of classes and teachers, then the girls could be behind the men. And whenever it's possible, to have different interests for each sex. If the matter is so mixed and you don't have that alternative, then it is allowed for the woman with the existence of the hijab, the no isolation, not to speak softly and not to be isolated, and so on and so forth. But in the mix between men and women, it is very easy. The mix, it is a general term. Some that is allowed, some is forbidden. And between two, what is agreed on, and some that is not. If it is just the meeting of the men and women in open areas to do a common work, whether it's religious or professional, and all the issues of hijab and glazing of the site and so on and so forth, then it is no burden on that. The meeting of men and women at the Eid is allowed, or around Hajj and Kaaba, around Safa and Marwa, and throwing the stones and so on, or in the open lecture that is open, and the women going out for the things that they need, with the women covering themselves with the hijab, and they are away from the men as much as they can. There is no touching, physical touching, and no looking back and forth, and to separate between the sexes as much as possible. That is more protective to the society and more protection for both sexes. So people will reach that knowledge instead of getting into something else. A question has been asked: how you combine between the hadith? Every innovation is a way of astray. And Umar, who said about the Taraweeh, it is the best innovation. And it is in the Bukhari and his Sahih. And what do you say about who make Imam Nawawi and Ibn Hajar and asked to burn their books because they are Asha'ira, and they talk about the attributes of Allah? Well, some of the scholars, they said this is the innovation in language, not in Shara. And what is more common, it is innovation that's partial because of leaving that action. Because the Prophet ﷺ, he is the first one who allowed that witr in one imam. And he prayed with his companions 3 days in Ramadan. Then he delayed himself so it will not become obligation. He said, I'm afraid it will be forgotten on you, the night prayers. And he was very humble on his people, his followers. So people, they come to the masjid, every person pray by himself, or two, three by themselves, and so on and so forth. So Umar, he thought to bring him back to the first sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, and to combine on one imam. So he compiled them on one imam, and he said to pray 11 rak'ahs. Bukhari says in his Sahih from Abdurrahman of Abd al-Qari, who said, I went with Umar one night in Ramadan in the masjid, and people are different groups, each one pray by himself, and some people follow him. So Umar said, if I could bring him in one recital, it would be much better. Then he insisted, and he made Ubay ibn Ka'b. Then I went the second night, and people are wondering. Then he said, it is a good innovation. And those who are sleeping, it is better than the praying at the end of the day. In night is better. So whenever he said the bid'ah, he meant the innovation. It was something that was left at the time of the Prophet ﷺ, and he brought it back to the origins. So he did not innovate in the religion of no example. Otherwise, what he did is resurrected the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. Because it is exactly what the Prophet ﷺ did. So it is a sunnah, not an innovation. Innovation in the Sharia, or that is something that he ﷺ did not do. And the saying of the Prophet ﷺ, every innovation is astray. I mean, it is general, and no one can change that. There is an innovation that will lead to disbelief, and some that for people who are given an excuse. That will not take you out. That is astray. But it will take you that you'll say that he is a disbeliever. So the action is described, but not the one who does it. But the two Imams, An-Nawawi and Ibn Hajar, they are from the top scholars of Islam. The well-known, and Allah written their sincerity. Their writings everywhere, right, east and west, and a lot of people benefit from it. Arab and non-Arabs. And Nawawi made a mistake in the attributes of Allah. You don't take. He is an innovator. That you could say that saying is wrong. But he does his effort. He is given a reward for his effort, and he only gets one reward, not two. So you cannot claim that he is an innovator. Don't you see the man who he forgot his or he lost his camel that has everything, and he stayed underneath a tree, and he said after he saw it coming back, he made a mistake. He said, "Oh Allah, you are my slave, I'm your Lord." He made it out of joy. He's not aware of what he is saying. He did not become disbeliever because he made that mistake. But it is hated. That action, that sin is kufr. But the person who did it is not. Or the one who were exaggerating himself. And he told his kids to burn him and take his ashes in a day that is windy. So he said, so Allah will not be able to. If he did, he will punish me something. He will not punish anybody. He thought he will be saved from the punishment of Allah. That's a doubt in the power of Allah. But the man did not disbelieve. Allah ordered the sea and the land to collect all his ashes, and then he collected them. He said, "Why did you do that?" He said, "I was afraid of you, Allah." And Allah forgave him. And the same thing you say, Hafid ibn Hajar. So you should not curse these two Imams. They are from the big leaders of Islamic scholars. And we do not accept the mistake they made, but we put them where they should be. Are they part of the Ash'ira? This is a complete school of thought with the names of Allah and some of the conditions in the hereafter. So somebody said, something they had said, that does not mean he's part of them. If somebody in the Hanabil, he chose one of the thoughts of a Shafi'i, is he a Shafi'i? No. And vice versa. So don't get into the scholars or those who hold the Sharia. That is an attack on the Sharia. It is to cut the path of Allah. A question. I don't know if this is like a secret one, but anyway, that he's asking, in the marriage, is it the multiplication or just the single? Which one are the origins? Do you have one wife or different? What is, if you're afraid of you not to be just in the orphans, then marry 2, 3, or 4. Well, this is a disputed matter. Some who looked at what the ayah says, and if you are afraid you're not going to just in the orphans, then marry 2, 3, or 4. If you can, then 1. It is better to not be. So they said the multiplication of women is the origins. Then they said, because this is the guidance of the Prophet ﷺ, who had more than one wife. But then said it is more to keep the men and to have more kids and to protect the goodness. When the women are more than the number of men, then the woman will be held. If one has one and you leave the Muslim woman, then there is too many that's left behind. And some who said no, the ayah did not prefer the the more than one wife. It says that if there is, you can't, when you are afraid of not to be just to the orphans. Let's understand what happened. They wanted to marry the orphans from the woman that lives with them, enter their guardianship, with not giving them the dowry they deserve. Someone has an orphan, they don't want to pay her dowry complete. So Allah ordered her to make them dowry the same thing, not to make it to take advantage of her. Otherwise, let them marry others, and as if they are saying, if you don't want to be just to this orphan and give her her right, leave her. I'm giving you 4 of the woman. I did not make it hard on you. Al-Bukhari say from Urwa that he asked Aisha, Allah be pleased with her, about this ayah. She said, she's the orphan in the household of her, and he is want her money and her beauty because he want to marry her, because it is. So they were forbidden from that unless they complete the dowry. So what about that says that it is the guidance of the Prophet ﷺ to have more than one wife? It was said in discussion this the Prophet ﷺ, he does not no one can say that he is not just. He is just with all of them. He's protected by Allah from that. But beside the Prophet ﷺ, they will be so exposed to what is forbidden because just is. Al-Shafi'i says, I like for him to get only one, even though he's allowed more. Because Allah said, and then he said it is one. So Abu Dawud, he contrasted, he said, who, when he alayhi salatu wasalam, he had different wives. And he only does what is better. And he said, get married, they get more. So the answer, it was good to give him one out of you're not just. But the Prophet ﷺ, he just, he is protected by Allah from that, from being unjust. In summary, the matter is the need and to have the chastity. Whomever have enough on him, it is good. He should stay that. So he will not get into the thing of forbidden. If not, he is allowed to have 2, 3, and 4. But in the time when there is a lot of women don't get married, the number of women are way above the number of men. It is better to have multi, so keep everybody in the right place in the society. What should be mentioned that Amjad said about this, it says that more than one woman, it is an inheritance from a long time ago. It is how the humanity needs in certain areas, especially with the abundance of women, and it is forbidden to have adultery. And Islam made a ceiling, and but the ability and justice, and it is when it is the it is but better to just have one because it is against the law of the land at this time in this place. A question about having cats in the house and the purification of the place. We say it is allowed if it is something legal, and it is whomever have a cat to feed her with sufficient, or to let her eat from the outside. Because of the saying of the Prophet ﷺ, a woman entered the hellfire because of a cat. She kept her, she did not feed her, she did not make her eat outside. The only filth is her urination. And whatever, number 1, number 2. And because it was provided in the Muwatta that Abu Qatada, he entered Ka'b ibn Malik, and she made wudu for him, and a cat came in to drink from it. So he gave her the water to drink. So he looked at me. She said, "Are you amazed He said the Prophet ﷺ said, it is not a filth, it is from the thing that you could have in the house. And you get rid of the filth of the urination. Number two is the janaza prayer, or the funeral janaza prayer. And three dead, but it is one prayer. He gets three parts of reward or one. We tell him, Allah's bounty is so big. What looks, it is one prayer. He gets the reward for it. And maybe Allah will bring you more. Allahu Alam. Can the woman who have wait the period, is she to does she can straighten her hair? The using of the cologne, no. But anything else, yes. Question. Can then, if we talk about the actions of non-Muslims, that backbiting. First of all, the ghiba should not happen on the civilian just like it does for the Muslims. But whomever declared of disobedience and rejected, then he have took off his right, whether he's Muslim or a disbeliever. And for the exceptions, the warning, it's not considered in 6, the one who declared. The question is a long one about a long story, the summary. A woman saying, I have 5 kids and I'm staying in the East. To do his paper, he did paper and he did a divorce on papers. After that, I found out, no, it is a new marriage and the woman likes him and they want divorce. So I don't know how to return him back. How the solution? I tell the police, or he is did this so he could be deported and come back to me. Mm. So we tell her, let's separate between things. The marriage that they don't really mean they're married, so it does not have conditions to get certain interests. It is forbidden completely because it is going from the interest of the marriage and it has everything against the Shara of Allah. But to tell the people and to deport him, it is not a solution because he will not have his patience on you and it could be an end for this relationship. So my advice is to be patient and to have people who could reach him. Maybe Allah will bring softness out to you again. We come to the conclusion. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أستغفرك وأتوب إليك.